Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarjun. I'm a data science trainer, a lecturer, and an industry practitioner in this field, and a mentor to the youth. This is the first in the series of basic R programming concepts. Before we start, I would like to request that you follow me on my socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Send me a message, like, share, subscribe, and that will really help me a lot. Thanks. Okay, moving on to today's segment. Okay, course introduction. So what is this R programming all about, right? If you are new, you don't have any background in R programming, then this is the course for you to start with, right? So what is this course? What is R programming? So this course provides the basics of the R language, which is geared towards statistical analytics. So if you're looking into statistics, looking at data exploration. Sorry, just let me correct my typo here. It's double P. Okay, so let me start this properly. Okay, so statistical analysis, data exploration, and for visualization capabilities, you use R, right? Students in this course would learn core programming concepts. Okay, there are a lot of programming concepts, right? So we'll cover the basic, stuff like conditions. Like, I'm sure you have come across if-else statements. If in especially in like Excel when you use if your value is of a particular value, you want to say, if it's less than $5, then it's a low amount. If it's more than $5, then it's a moderate or a high amount, depending on how you want to classify it, right? So those kind of conditionals. Then you also have loops. Loops might be something new for a lot of learners, right? Variables are just containers that store values, right? Functions and data structures as well, right? With practice sessions, students will be exposed to both inbuilt and customized functions, right? Understand the various types of data structures and write simple, efficient R codes to perform basic tasks. So that's what this course mainly aims to achieve. As this is a basic R course, it's not an intermediate or an advanced course, right? So it's just a basic R course, right? I am in the process of developing intermediate and advanced courses, but as I mentioned, this is an R course. So something about me. I'm Sarjun. I'm Saj. I've completed my degree in economics, also my master's in social sciences in applied economics, as well as my master's in financial engineering as well from NUS. I've also had training certificates completed, and I also did a couple of specialist diplomas in full stack web development and artificial intelligence. And I've worked in the field of policy research, financial modeling, fintech companies, financial insurance companies as well. And I've done also lecturing in institutions, in tertiary institutions, where I teach data science and machine learning courses as well. Right. During my free time, I like to analyze data, as you know, and try to teach my daughter a thing or two about data analytics where possible. Right. So that's something about me, just so that I get that out of the way. Moving on to the core learning objectives. Right. You'll be learning core aspects, as I say, it's the basic core and features of the R programming languages. You will learn and apply core programming concepts such as conditionals, loops, variables, functions, and data structures. You will apply basic functions and methods on data frames and arrays, right? So as I mentioned, this course is catered for students and staff who have limited or minimal programming experiences, and is catered for motivated learners who would like to embark on this rigorous learning framework and constantly upgrade yourself, right? So there's no basics required. There will be a variety of assessments, mini quizzes, structured coding questions throughout the homework exercises, right? So that's how this course is kind of segmentized, right? And the commitment is about 2 to 3 hours per Jupyter notebook or per lesson, you can say, right? So with that said, let me move on to the tools and the softwares that this course will be using, right? So before we start, as I said, what is R? R is a programming process that is actually used by professionals to write codes to instruct the computer application of software program to perform certain actions. So the computer program is a set of instructions to facilitate specific actions. So you need to tell the computer to do, ABC. If not, it will not do ABC. It will just do whatever that it or it will not do anything if you don't instruct it to do anything, right? If you ask the computer to do random stuff, it will just do random stuff that it might be a random set of instructions that you have given it, and you just say select any random instructions and do some random actions. It will do exactly that. So you don't want that. You want it to do specific actions, so you need to order them in that specific line of code. So with that said, why R? A lot of people ask me. I think, to be honest, I also have another course in Python. To me, both Python and R are very useful tools. A lot of time people tell me, should I learn R or Python? There is, I never saw them as competitors, right? To me, I think all programming languages are useful to learn. It's just which one do you think suits your purpose, suits your need, as well as something that you are more interested. Because sometimes when you look at the interface, and a Jupyter notebook environment or an Anaconda environment is something that a person likes more, then they prefer to go for Python, right? But someone who likes RStudio, using R kind of the GUI, the way that it's framed, they like that method, and then that works well as well. So it's really about it's just not a choice of what is easier to learn or what. It's more of a purpose. So if you really are on the fence, I would say follow my courses on both and try the first few segments of both and see which one you feel easier to follow, and that would give you an easier way to start off learning if you really don't have a preference per se. Okay, so to cover some key concepts, R is beneficial for the purpose of data science and analytics, right? It's portability. Sorry, here I'm supposed to write most R programs. My bad. Right, most R programs run unchanged on all computer platforms. So if you type it in one platform, you can easily you can easily copy it across to my other platforms as well. This is the same for Python as well, right? And then they are interactive. You're able to create and develop interactive web applications, provide users with customized web pages and dashboards as well. The community for R is backed by active developers, coders, and data scientists. Provides users with the ability to troubleshoot bugs and errors with ease. Since R is being an open source tool and can constantly be updated, modified, and used under the general public license, the extensive libraries and packages cater to different analytic needs. So there is a lot of perks of why you should use R in this case. Visualization, the use of R for data visualization is absolutely powerful, right? Provides users the ability to develop and produce high quality graphs, right? For my purpose, I'm going to be downloading a couple of softwares, R and RStudio, but I'm also going to be downloading Anaconda because I personally prefer to run R in Anaconda and teach through Anaconda. You don't have to download Anaconda if you don't want to. RStudio and R will serve the purpose, but for myself, because I'm teaching, I prefer the way I will teach you how to do it in R, but you can copy the same code and run it in RStudio. You don't have to do it in Anaconda and I'm doing it in Anaconda because I can write commands and all that. It's neater for me to organize my stuff, right? But I will be using RStudio and Anaconda simultaneously as well, and certain parts of this segment due to some library issues. But other than that, I would strongly encourage you to use RStudio. But for myself, I will be installing the Anaconda distribution as well. I will run you through the Anaconda distribution installation as well. If you are interested in doing the R and Python, both Python and R programming with this field of software. So the Anaconda environment can give you the opportunity to do both R and Python programming with a slew of libraries, packages, softwares to support data science and analytics purposes. Right. It also allows for open source software that is needed for your projects in any field, from data visualization, robotics to automation purposes to be downloaded. It's an intuitive platform, allows easy search and installation of packages and to create, load, and switch between environments, trusted with regular testing and updated of packages and artifacts through secure hosted servers. Right? At least that's what they say. Right? Okay. We are going to be installing our softwares. So please do have Google Chrome installed in your computer, because Google Chrome is, I feel, one of the best tools for downloading, and using your web browser, right? You can use Edge and Firefox, but for me, I'm using Google Chrome, right? Just type in install. Okay. Install. I don't know why I'm typing it wrong, but it's install RStudio. So we have it here, install RStudio, right? Personally, I like to go into this RStudio desktop, this posit.co/download RStudio desktop, because it gives me the ability to install both R and RStudio, which is both a requirement. So you need to install step 1 is R, you need to install step 2 is RStudio. So you need to have done these 2 steps, right? And then for myself, I'll be doing a step 3, which is to install Anaconda distribution. So let me download and install R first. So it'll bring you to this page, this cran.rstudio.com. Download R for Windows, since mine is a Windows. If you're using a Mac, it should be a Mac, and if you're using a Linux, it should be a Linux. So you should follow accordingly. So in my case, I've installed it here, you can see, and I click on it, it's opening, right? And then you can select the language, English, whichever language you want. It depends on what you're comfortable with. For me, I'm comfortable with English, so I'm comfortable with English. So I'll stick to English. And then you're supposed to read through this information. Because I've already read through it before, in the interest of time, I will press next. And I will click next again, because I'm okay with this name of my folder to save it. And then I'll leave it as its default as user installation. And I will not have any customized setup. I'll click next. I'll leave the folder as R. And I will just leave this as default as well. And I click next. Right, and you'll be installing R. Right, so this is step 1. So ensure that you have step 1 completed. It's quite fast depending on your computer. If your computer is very slow, it might take a bit of time. So please bear with that. Okay, so I can close this now since I installed R already. The next step, I need to download RStudio Desktop for Windows. Once it's downloaded, I click on it. And then you have to give it permission. Yes, I click next. Again, this is RStudio, so I accept this as the destination folder. RStudio, yep, and I click next, and you will install RStudio. So it's quite simple, the process, right? So it should not take too long, usually, right? So just bear with that. Okay. If it takes too long, I will cut short the video. Okay, but it's not. Okay, I thought I'll shorten the video, but it's okay. So I'll finish. I'll click finish, and both my RStudio and my R have been installed. I can close my browser. Right, you can see that R is here. I will search for RStudio in my. So I have RStudio already installed, so I can just click on it, and it will show up here. So here, RStudio requires existing version of R, so I can use my machine's default 64-bit, which is already here. I already have that, so I click auto detect. Okay. So it will auto detect. Remember, I said you must install R, right? So it already detected it's installed R. Okay, I think I'll just leave it as yes. They're asking for automated crash reporting, so I'll just say yes. Right. So I'll just maximize it. So this is the RStudio interface. It's very nice, right? This is your console. You have your tab. You have your terminal here. This is the console. This is the terminal. These are your background jobs, environment, your environment, say history, connection, tutorials. Very nice GUI. You have files here. You can access your file system here, your plot, your packages, all this, depending on what you want to download, what you want to install, and all that. So RStudio is actually very good for beginners, right? I mean, RStudio is the best, I feel, right? If you want to learn R. The thing about, if I were to open up R now, R will seem so, this is R. Right. So for someone who is using RStudio, when you look R, you'll be like, what's this? Huh? This will scare you off, right? This will be like, and I don't, it's too, like simple, right? But it's on top of this, what is built is RStudio, right? So I'm not going to save this. You see, RStudio is a lot more inviting, pleasant to the eye, right? So Yeah, so that kind of thing, I feel RStudio does a better job, right? So some quick stuff. I just click on File, New R Script. Just want to teach some simple stuff, so I click on New R Script, right? I'll just want to say do some simple. So just put NAME, name, or just make it easier. My name equals to. I just put it as Sargent. I'm just going through some simple learning, right? So I just type print. Print is an inbuilt function. So if I print my name, and then I select this whole thing. Usually when I print for R, I will select the whole thing and I click on this thing called the run, right? You can see at the bottom here, it actually printed my name. I say print my name, it printed Sajun because it remembered that my name is actually Sajun, right? So if I now just, because I've already saved the earlier this line in memory, as you can see, the value is already registered my name. I can just highlight on the second line and run my name, right? If I were to type print your name, right, it's going to throw me an error because your name is not found because I have not determined your name. So let me put your name is equals to, YouTube or participant. Let's put as participant. Let me put participant. I mean, generalize. I know there are many people watching, so I don't know. No, you're a participant. Okay, so your name is participant, right? And then now I select this. I only run this. It will only run this, right? It's not printing out the name yet. But if I run the fourth line here, I select this and I run this, you can see that it print your name. It comes out as participant here at the bottom. You can see that is the output here. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that this is how it works in R, and every time you want to run a code, you need to select it and you need to run it. You can actually leave the cursor on the line. Wherever the cursor is, it will start running from that line onwards as well. You can see now it's in line 3, so it'll start running from line 3 onwards. You can also do that. So if I click on run, you can see that it actually start running from line 3 as well, right? Which is line 3, but it didn't run line 4 lah. So it's too risky. So I rather you just select the whole thing that you want to run, and then you run it. So you can see that it actually runs this whole thing itself. So you can definitely run this script, just this line, by clicking it, putting the cursor here, but that's not what you want, right? You want to select everything that you want to run and you click on run. So that's how RStudio works. Just giving you a simple intro on this, right? You don't want to run everything every time. If you want to select everything, you want to select everything every time, that's going to be the only problem is if you don't select them properly. You select something like instead of selecting from, you want to run from 1, but you selected from 2, and then you run like that, then you miss out line 1. If you run like that, you see, you miss out running line 1. So you only start with printing my name instead of assigning 1 onwards. So you have to be careful. So usually what I do is I just select all. You can actually Control A as well and run as well if you're running for everything. Sometimes you don't want to run everything because sometimes loading data might take a long time as well, and that's something that is a bit, you could say, time wasting. So you could, selectively run, right? This is how I have been doing it. If you do have a better way, you can share it in the comments. I'll also learn. I'm also learning this stuff as well. So yeah, so that is for RStudio, the basic introduction, right? For myself, you will be doing the same thing in terms of learning as well, but I will be doing it in Jupyter Notebook. So I will have to do additional steps. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to click Don't Save. So I'm going to go into the Anaconda distribution. So I'm going to type Anaconda, download, go into distribution, and I download for Windows the latest distribution. So you can see that I'm downloading the latest distribution, right? It's taking a while to download. Okay, it's downloaded already. So now let me install this. So for those of you who are keen on learning Python as well, then I think you should download the Anaconda distribution as well. So yeah, so click on this, read through this, right? And then just me, in the case of install for. And then for myself, I'm going to install it in this folder. I am going to add Anaconda tree to my path environment variable because for development work, that helps me a lot, right? For yourself, I would encourage you to do it as well. Um, even though they say it's not recommended, but for myself, I mean, if you really want to dwell into programming and doing some really deployment and development work, I would suggest you to add the Anaconda tree to the path environment variable, right? And then I'll install this. Yep, this shouldn't take long, hopefully. If it does take longer, I will okay. It's stuck there for a while. Maybe I should cut the video, right? Maybe I will. Don't worry, I will. I will. If required, I will shorten the video. You don't have to wait so long.
5 minutes later.
Okay, so now the installation is done. So let's click on next. Okay, so it will tell you that working with Python and Jupyter is a breeze in DataSpell. It's an IDE, so this is an IDE that you want to consider if you need it. But yeah, I think it's okay. I'll just click next, and yep, we can click on finish. It'll open up certain websites for me. I'll just close them for now. You can read them later if you want to. Yep. So for now, I've installed all. So how do I now use Anaconda to teach? So I will go into the, before I do that, I need to go into the Anaconda prompt to install certain codes so that I'm able to technically show you. Just give me a moment. Let me get out the code because there's a code that I need to type to. Okay, so I need to type in here conda install -c r r-ir kernel. Yep, that is all. I need to do this. I need to show you that it's conda install -c r r-ir kernel. So this will install a specific kernel in the Jupyter Notebook environment, in a sense, for you to use R, because the default kernel that's installed when you install Anaconda distribution is Python, right? So you want R kernel also to work. So later I'll show you the slight difference, the variation of how that will switch around as well. So you want that to also be installed. So that's why there's a small little tweak that you need to do as well. If not, it will not work well. Yeah. I hope that helps. Just give me a moment while I'm trying to. Yeah, so sometimes you have this frozen solve thing because it's trying to install something and then it's not able to get it. And then you'll try again till it gets into a prompt from a particular repo. Yeah, so these are things lah. Yeah, so when you're a programmer, you realize actually um, it's not really programmer. It's just sometimes packages. You want to download. I think you also face the same thing, right? When you use certain apps, you use certain tools. If they're not updated, or if they're not the one that you're looking for, they may not be ideal, right? So here in this case, they'll ask you to type what you want to install all this. They ask you to proceed with this bracket y and /n. So you just need to type y and enter. So you'll start installing everything, right? So you can see most of it is related to R. You can see like those R codes, R crayon, R stuff, all this stuff. So these are related to R. This is the IR kernel. You can see it's here running quite fast, but yeah, don't try to squint your eyes to watch to see all this, but I'm just telling you lah, right? That's what it's doing. So so it'll install a set of so it'll then do some checkings, and once it's done, this is what I will do. Yep, so I'll do a Jupyter notebook. I'll type Jupyter notebook, right? And when you see that I click on Jupyter Notebook, it will open up a Google Chrome browser, right? And then I will click on Documents, right? I have some R script, but it doesn't matter. To me, I just want to do a new. You can see that now I have two notebooks. I have a Python 3 IPY kernel here, and I have an R kernel as well. So I can just click on R here. So it will create a new kernel for me, and it's done. So this is a R. You can say R IPython IPYNB file, right? So if I call this my first R file, so I can do that. So this is how I save my first R file. So remember this R file is an IPYNB file. It's an IPython integrated Python notebook file, right? So it's just that I'm using an R kernel to run this. But if you are using the RStudio, right? If you're using RStudio, right? In this case, just to show you the difference, right? In RStudio, here I still have this, right? So if I were to do a file, save as, and inside my R folder, okay, just let me save it here generally lah. So if I save it, let's say file, save, sorry, I want to save this. Yeah, I want to save this. Let me save it here. Let me call this my first RStudio file, right? I click save, right? So this, when I go back to this, you can see that is saved as a .r file. So my first RStudio file is saved as a .r file. So a .r file is a specific R language program file, right? Versus this file that is here is a IPython notebook file, but I'm running my kernel is a R kernel, right? I'm running a R kernel here to do my R programming. So it's kind of the same but slightly different. But don't worry about the context, right? Here we're learning the basic of programming. So in the next segment, the next part of this lecture, I will be covering more into the concepts of programming, not so much about where you program. So the concepts should work whether you work in an IPYNB file running a kernel, R kernel, or whether you are running it in RStudio. In both cases, you should get the same output. That is what I want to be very sure about, right? Don't worry about too much about the nitty-gritty stuff about the environments and all that and all the tools. That is not the aim of this lesson, especially. You are learning how to code, and that is where my target and your target is also to get you learning the basics first, and then eventually, when you get a better understanding of the environment, then we'll talk about development, and all those are the intermediate and the advanced stages of R programming, right? Okay, with that said, yeah, I'll see you in the next segment. See you. Bye.